Kitsune clan of the Scarlet Forest.
Spiky Bits.
Welcome back, Hobby Maniacs. I'm Rob Bear from SpikyBits.com, and today we're going to take a look at an upcoming Kickstarter, although when you see this, it's probably already going to be live, but whatever. Either way, Signum Games has had 3 successful Kickstarters so far, and they have a huge Patreon following, a bunch of folks over there, and they're always putting out really, really dope-looking minis for, basically the tabletop or their own actual game too, which I think is pretty neat. And I hadn't done a deep dive into this game, and they asked me if I wanted to do a video on it. I said, sure, show me the minis. I always like to see the minis first, right? And we talked about their stuff in the past, and they look great. But I want to see what they're coming out with, and they got these like Far East kind of looking critters that are just out of this world. Well, once I got my hot little hands on all these are pretty cool. I probably will never play this game, but fortunately, it isn't about me playing games here. It's about taking a look at value and taking a look at, what you get and the quality of the figures. I think that, helps everybody out there figure out where they want to spend their hobby dollars. So that being said, this is going to be their 4th Kickstarter. So let's dive in and take a closer look. So here's the actual Kickstarter page, and as you can see, it's pretty much what you expect. Everything's laid out really nice. Here's a preview, and then it gets into the actual stretch goals. Now, one of the things that I think is pretty cool is, and if you read their profile, they're like, hey, we pretty much get making games. I don't think you have to worry about this now fulfilling. They just fulfilled the last Kickstarter, or their 3rd one, in March of this year. So I don't think there's any issues there. But, if the world changes, things are crazy out there. So you never really quite know with a Kickstarter, but they have a really good track record. Everybody that backs in the first 12 hours will get one of these miniatures here. Unfortunately, I didn't get one of them in my previous stuff, but this one's pretty cool. I kind of like the kind of goddess kind of look to it. Definitely got that Far East vibe to it, and I know it's got like some cattails, but I almost feel like it's like more of a kind of like a watery kind of effect. Like you see all those old style like paintings where it's got like the kind of like the flowing water or air, but in this case it's like the tail. But that's just my take on it. I just think these miniatures are cool. I will never play this game, but I love talking about miniatures because it's just so cool to see all the different designs and things people can do out there. Get into the nitty gritty of it. Here's some previews. So I imagine these are renders. They look just as good in resin as I'm about to show you here in a second. First level to get duders is $69. You get 4 of the models. You get the starter box and all the accoutrement you need to play the game. And I really like how they thought all this through, right? You kind of think about it and you're like, okay, so it's $70 for 4 models, but these are pretty big models, and I get that. So anywhere, valuation, anywhere around $15 a model, for real. For bespoke, custom, dope-ass casted, high-quality resin miniatures, I feel like $15 is not asking a lot, especially for the size of these miniatures. Plus, look at all the game aids, everything you need to play this game, including a quick start guide, which we actually have a copy of. I'm going to show you the game mat itself. Now, granted, it's played on a 2x2 table, so you can probably buy a neoprene, mouse pad material mat if you really want to. The terrain is technically these cards, so you can use that too. You don't really, it just won't maybe look as dope and as graphic, but there's plenty of map makers out there that you can pick up stuff from if that is your thing. Regardless, I feel like, this isn't a bad value. At first, I was like $69, and then I started thinking about it. I was like, you know what? I get it. I feel like that's a fair price. And they have some early bird specials too. Like if we scroll up, looking over here on the right. So this is not an early bird special. This is just your base. And then once you start going up, the larger pledges are early birds. So if you are interested in this, you might want to jump on, in the first 12 hours so you get the extra mini. Of course, they're stacking a deck to get that dope funded within 12 hours. We all know what's going on here, but there is value, and you provide value. I've always been about that here on the channel. Then people will probably buy your product, and the reason is right here at $109. You're actually going to get 2 more miniatures than you normally would. So at the other price here now, and then it starts going up. Like this one is not the early bird price, so you actually save $10 on this deal right here, and then it kind of goes on and on, and they only have these 4 pledges, or 5 pledges rather, but they might change it in the near future when they hit the stretch goals and stuff. So you can kind of see all the different things here, the extra minis that you're going to get, and then the larger pledges here, and you can start to see the miniatures definitely get bigger. Now, some of the stuff you can get as add-ons, like these dragon coins and the purse, which I thought was pretty neat. Some more renders, but I wanted to show you this. So dice tower, coins in the pouch, pretty dope, right? I love that stuff right there. It says they're copper coins, so you know I'm all about some metal money when it comes to actually role playing and being part of the period. I'm not about metal money these days, because who wants to carry around a pocket full of coins when you have one plastic thing and that has all your money on it? But you know, deep diving into a game and stuff, that's always cool. They got some forest options, and then you can get some of these models as, you know, add-ons themselves. Which, like I said, once you start doing the evaluation at $14 or $15, because you know the first one is $69, it's roughly $15 each. I don't feel like that's bad value once you start seeing these prices and they start kind of climbing up. And then you see this thing right here, which is super dope. I love the whole like dragon motif, you know, coming out of the, can't tell if that's water or if that's a cloud. It doesn't matter. It's just dope. And you know, playing Sylvaneth in Age of Sigmar, it's definitely like kind of piques my true people Sylvaneth kind of, you know, nature senses right here. And I was like, man, can I work this into my Sylvaneth army? And I was like, yeah, probably not, but it'd still be really cool just to pick up and paint. We actually have this miniature, and I was blown away by it. This thing is so dope. And then it gets into more and more miniatures and things, and then you can see the size here, which this model is pretty big, believe it or not. I was very taken aback by it. It's such good quality cast, and you know, stuff goes together very easily, very well thought out. I'm sure their attention to detail is going to show through in this Kickstarter project as well. So here's the starter box, like the base level of what you can pledge right here. Now this is a prototype, you know, it says prototype, it says promotion, but you know, they cast up a few and they're giving them out to people that help make content to help promote it. Of course, we are doing the same. And then once you get inside, I forget exactly what came. I think there were some miniatures and bubbles. But this is the playmat itself. Yeah, it's just a piece of, or well, you know, it's basically like a poster. So you fold it out. It's a 2x2 square. But like I said, you can get, you know, a neoprene mat or something if that tickles your hobby pickle. But otherwise, that thing will probably work just fine. These models, you know, the resin, they're kind of heavy. They'll probably hold it down. I mean, even these little cards that you use for the terrain aren't light at all. So I mean, you put that on top of this paper here, and I think I don't think you're gonna have really any issues with gameplay. Now, this is what I really love about the whole project, besides the miniatures, if I had to pick something, was the quick start guide. And it's really cool. Oh, that's the wrong way. So it's really cool. It's all kind of laid out, like they give you the breakdown of the hero cards, you know, and then how everything kind of works all together. This dice are really cool looking. I just think it's a really neat game. Like, I don't have a lot of time to dig into it, but this is something that, like, if I was really getting into, I could totally get into this if this was like my one thing. Unfortunately, I don't have a one thing anymore. But here's those dice. These are really cool. I'm all about sometimes not numbers on dice. I'm all about like the shapes and the different icons and things. I just think it works out more. I don't know what these are, but they're really cool. I like them. Like, you could go, you know, you could go cheap and you could do something kind of stupid looking, but these are just really neat. Like, they almost like kind of have that video game vibe to them almost, which I just think is really cool. Like, everything seems very well thought out. There's a forest terrain tokens, and then there's all sorts of cards, tokens you got to punch out. The character cards are in here, and they have that like that very cool Far East motif to them, which I think is really neat. So, you know, it looks and feels the part, which I think is very important, especially when you're trying to sell something and get everybody's kind of hobby dollars. They got a measure stick as well, and it's pretty good quality card and things like that. I don't really feel any bad and there about it. And then there's the little storybook here, basically about the because remember, this is what is it? The Kitsune clan of the Scarlet Forest. Of the Scarlet? No, yeah, the Scarlet Forest. Yeah, that's it. And it's just a rule book and some little more stuff in the back about story and things like that. It was very, very cool. So you get a rule book, you get a quick start guide, which I think is very important. Having different modes of play sometimes is kind of important too, I feel like, in this time and place, especially, you know, having a single mode. Not exactly sure about that, haven't really dug into it, but those are kind of like my criteria for what makes a good game out of the box. Now let's jump into some of the minis. So here's the first one, and I wish I had left some of these unbuilt, to be honest, because you could have seen how well they designed all the notches and the way everything kind of plugs into each other. There is a little bit of gapping, of course. These got built kind of quick, but you know, if you take your time, you're not going to have any issues like that. And they're very three-dimensional, very dynamic, just like the renders. I mean, I can't say enough good things about them. The detail is super crisp. The resin quality, and I assume it's resin. It's really hard to tell. It could even be that new castable resin that I think I forget exactly how it's pronounced, but a lot of companies are using that now. But I swear it's probably smooth on resin. But I don't 100% know. Either way, it's super high quality and great looking stuff. We'll just briefly take a look at all the miniatures. Now, to give you an idea, that was a 50mm base. This one too is on a 50mm base. And for the majority of all of these, there was no issues with warping. There was a banner, which I'll show you here in a second, that I just think it just probably needs a little heat or a little hot water, and it'll straighten right out. But other than that, I mean, everything is super dynamic and it's very sturdy. Like, I push on this little ponytail right here and nothing happens, you know. Another 50mm figure. I mean, you can tell the size wise they're right on point with 28mm or 32 scale heroics, depending on what you want to call it. But like I said, some of these that come with a starter right off the bat, $15. This guy's kind of cool. Let's show you some of his different arms. He kind of reminds me, I mean, I think he's a fox, but it kind of reminds me of like a vampire almost, because he's got that snout. It's always super weird. I don't know what it is about foxes, but this guy has, oh, and I did leave some on. So there you can tell exactly how easy it is to assemble these. This guy's got 3 different little arms, one with doves, and thanks. Good job, Rob of the past. No problem, Rob of the future. This little scroll, or I guess what is this called? Conda? What is that called? The scroll writing? Oh gosh, you think I would know these things by now. And then just a little pointy hand. Make it show. That's my the Emperor has, or the Fox has the Emperor Palpatine voice. But yeah, like $15 for these. This one's really cool. Digging the vibes here. And look at all that detail back there. Super crisp, very, very nice. Loving it. And then this one was a little bent, but like I said, running under some hot water. I might have even done this. I don't remember, just leaving it, you know. When the stuff came, it was kind of on my porch for a little while. So I could see where maybe that was an issue. I don't know, either way. But again, very, very crisp detail. I mean, check that out. Everything is super tight. All the armor detail, the detail in the hair, the knot work, and all this. And it's not busy that you won't be able to paint it. So there's lots of areas where you can get some blends, like on this crazy, what is this, beta fish, goldfish sort of thing. I don't know what's going on, but this guy's pretty neat. His hat goes on. This is actually a bit right here. These are bits, and doing, I don't know, goldfish things. Very, very cool looking. And he's got this little, remember the snorks? Who remembers the snorks? He's got this snorky looking thing up here. I guess it's supposed to be a seahorse, but to me it's a snork, even though the little snout is not coming out of his head. This guy's cool. Definitely got some Lumineth Realm Lords kind of vibes when it comes to comparisons to Age of Sigmar, I suppose, if you're into the Warhams. But I love this this little pew pew. And this bit is separate, so hopefully, and it's nice and straight too, which is really remarkable, like I said. And this is, and there's a piece that I couldn't figure out where to assemble it. There's another one of these tassels, and I don't know where it goes. But we got it there. And this is with the goddess of prosperity or something. I forget exactly, but man, check it out. So much room to do dope ass fades and paint work, paint up the armor. There is a little bit of gapping, of course. You can always use some Vallejo plastic putty or something to get in there and fix those gaps, but it's just amazing quality. Look at all the scales. It's insane. And this is on like a, I don't know, I guess that's like an 80mm base. It's semi-chonky, but not too chonky. 80 is such a weird size. You don't really see a lot of that. I guess you do for like Dreadnoughts and stuff in Warhammer, but man, it's just like, what was that? Mishu from the movie, man, I forget. But that's just some crazy looking Mishu. I love this miniature. It's just very, very cool. Again, either there's a tassel missing, it probably goes like up in here or something. I just couldn't quite figure it out. But the rest of it's together, and it looks pretty dope. And this thing is tall. I mean, it's very tall. We'll show you some pictures, and of course, there's a scale guide over there on the Kickstarter too. So that is unfortunately all I have to show y'all about the upcoming Kickstarter. So we'll have some links in the description below as well as in the comments. You can click on either of those to go over there and pledge. Remember, try to do it in the first 12 hours so you get all those bonuses, and hopefully, you know, the early birds stick around that long, so you save a little bit of cheddar on that. Because I feel like if you're into this sort of thing, or even if you just want it for the miniatures, not necessarily a game, it definitely harnesses a lot of those old Rackham confrontation kind of vibes, if you know what I mean, like from back in the day. And this stuff is workable, the material is dope, the detail is great, and it seems like from the detail of the miniatures to the detail of the packaging to the detail of the game itself, they really haven't left any stone unturned in their commitment to quality. So I can't say enough good things about this from what I'm seeing here. So check it out, Signum Games. The Kitsune clan of the Scarlet Forest should be live right about meow.